Okay, 5 and 6. They're kind of like the same. They're like mirror images. So what we're gonna do is we need to get this piece of paper right here that looks like this on the back. We need to remove the white here, and then we're going to tilt our paper this way so that that little house is down on the bottom, and then we're going to measure over 8 inches and cut, and then we're going to cut that into 6 inches. So we'll have two 8 by 6 pieces of this paper. So let me go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so you should have two pieces that look like this. I originally was going to have this as my base, but when I turned it over and this looks so pretty, I'm going to go ahead and use the one with the design on it, because I usually for my bases use the solid colors, but this time I'm actually going to use one with the design on it. So I'm going to set this one aside for page 6, and we'll do this. So what we need now is our cardstock for page 5, and what we need, let me get those out. We should have the one for the pocket, and the one for the pocket I do believe was what size? I have my ruler right here. I have to look it up. Okay, it's going to be 8.5 by 3 1/4. That's going to be for the pocket. We're going to do a little wraparound pocket at the bottom of the page like this, and then we're going to have 2 fold outs. So you're going to have one that is 5 3/4 by 7 1/4, and you're going to be scoring on the 3/8 and the 1/2 on the 5 3/4 side. You're just going to score down. And then on this one, we have a piece that is 5, oh, I got my cat bumping the 5 1/4 by 6 1/4, and we're going to be scoring at, I'm going to tilt this so I can see my score line, at 3/4 and 1. So that's what we should have here for that. So the next thing we need to do is I'm just going to apply a piece of score tape on the bottom of this right here and just get that ready for the I put my score tape away last night so my cat wouldn't get it. Let me take it back out of the bag because he'll find it and he'll be playing with it. He sniffs it out, so I got to keep it. One is with my tape, and the other one is with feathers. It's like, really? So I got to keep everything away. Okay, so now what we need to do is to go and find some papers to cover these up. So let me go look what I want to see what I have in my my scraps, and then I'll show you what I picked out. Okay, I found the papers that I'm going to be using on mine. They're not glued down yet. I just wanted to show you what I found here. I just went through my little scrap pile and just went through and found some pictures some images that I could just cut down. So I'm going to do this one here, and this one on the inside. And then I did this one. This is what it looks like on the back. And I did this one. And then this one here. And then for the pocket that's going to go down here, I did this one. I need to, after I'm going to remove the score tape, I'm going to put this down and then, fold in the flaps. And then I'll need to cut this to fit because it is a little wider than what I have here. So I'll just cut that one to fit. And then let me go do all that, and then I'll show you what mine looks like. Okay, I got all mine glued down, so this is what they look like. And then I just cut that one to fit on my pocket here. So what we need to do is we need to take the larger flip, fold out your seam all the way to the first score mark. Make sure the second score mark is inside. Place it on your page, and then put it on your page where you want it to be. You're probably going to want to center it top and bottom like that. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to tack it down. So let me flip it over. now I'm going to push this out where it should be. So it's nice and flat on the side here. Now I'm going to take my second fold out, place that in, put that where I want it to be. And then I'm going to flip it over and tack that one down too. Make sure that's all the way in. Now, I'll bring that out so it looks like that. Now, I did decide that I wanted to put a magnet on here, but since I already put my paper on, this is what I've come up with. On page 4, there is a magnet behind here. See, there is a magnet right there. So what I'm going to do, let's take that off for now, is I am going to be putting my page in my book like that, and then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to, as a matter of fact, that's where my magnet is, and I'm going to attach it so it stays like that and it'll close. But I'm going to put it on this side, and then I'm going to put a little something on top of that, like a little strip going across, like dividing the paper. So that's what I'm going to do. That way this will stay closed and it won't open. See how it, oops. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what mine looks like after I find my magnet. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I just found some little scraps and put a little band there. Now it's not a pocket, so it can be a little misleading thinking this. At first I was going to leave this side open, but then I thought people would hit this magnet thinking that something was stuck and try to push it over, so I'm going to go ahead and I just glued it straight down. So now you've got a magnet that holds the page flat. Well, holds it down so it doesn't open. So what we need to do now is we're going to be doing the exact same thing for page 6. So let me get everything ready for page 6 and we'll do that page together. Okay, well I found my papers that I'm going to use for my covers for page 6. So what I wanted to use up my scraps. I was getting a whole bunch of little teeny scraps, and I wanted to use them up. So for this larger one, I needed one that's 5 5/8 by 7 1/8. So what I did is I cut out a bunch of little 1.5 inch squares, and I just glued them onto copy paper because I'm going to cut it to size, and I'm going to use that as one of my cut that out to fit, so I can use up some of my little scraps. So I just made a bunch of little cut out little patchwork little thing here, which I'm going to use for my paper. So I am going to let this dry a little bit more, and then I'll cut it out to fit, and then I'll show you what all my pages look like together. Also, while I'm thinking of it, so I don't forget, in case I didn't mention it, on the smaller fold out that we're going to be doing, we are going to be placing the magnet on the back before we put our paper on. This is the part that I didn't do on page 5. So I'm going to go ahead and place a magnet in here, and so do that. Place a magnet on the back of the little flip, because that magnet just gets placed on the back of your base page, so it doesn't really matter where you place your magnet. Well, it has to be placed in a position where it's going to, you know, how that's going to be. So, yeah. So just place a magnet on the back of your little flip, because that's the one that's going to go on top. And then I'll be right back. I also need to let you know, in case you decide to go ahead and put yours together, on page 6, the flip outs are going to be on the right. See, on this page, on page 5, they're on the left. On page 6, they're going to be on the right. So that's where they're going to go there. I just wanted to mention that in case I forgot to. Okay, I have mine all attached. Now you need to make sure that your flap is on the right side when you put your flaps on, because I did mine upside down, so I had to take it all apart and redo it. Well, anyway, I have it all redone and all together the right way. So all I got score, it's the score tape around. So what I'm going to do is just mount that in my book. So it's like that. So I am going to do that, and I'll show you what mine looks like. Okay, now we're going to do page 7. And for page 7, we need to get out this piece of paper, and there's this on the back. You're going to want to trim this off. Then I need you to tilt your page this way, then come across 8 inches, and then cut that in half, and you'll have 2 8x6 pieces for page 6 and page 7. Or I should say page 7 and page 8. Okay, so this is what you should have. They just look like that. And I'm just going to set this one aside for page 8. So set that aside so I don't accidentally cut into that. So page 7 is just a simple pocket page. So what you're going to need to do is just cut a piece for the pocket that is 5 3/4 by 8 1/2, and we're just going to attach it to the bottom of our page. And now if you're going to do a decorative punch, a deep edge punch would be nice here. You can leave it straight, or you can just use the same die that I used and just back it up with the colored cardstock. And we're just going to wrap that around, and we're going to find a piece in our scraps to put right here on the front of that. So let me go do that, and I'll show you what mine looks like. Okay, page 7 was just a simple pocket page. I've got mine all done. I got my score tape around. Now all I have to do is just remove the backing and put it in my album. So this page is complete, and then we'll start on page 8. Okay, page 8. Now we should have this set aside when we did page 7, so that's going to be our base. We are going to be doing a pocket, and the measurements for the pocket for page 8 is 5 3/4 by 8 1/2. So it's 8 1/2 by 5 3/4, and you can either use this die that I did with the backing of the colored cardstock, or you can just use a deep edge punch or whatever you have, and that's going to go here. And we're also going to be having a side flip out to the right, and this is what this is going to be. Now this is 2 pieces of paper that are attached together, and the size that you're going to need for your pages are 8 by 6 and a 5 by 8, and we're just going to attach those together. And the score marks are in the cutting guide, but I can give them to you real quick right here. The one that says 8 by 6 on the 6-inch side, you're going to want to score at 5 1/4 by 5 3/8, and the one that's 5 by 8, you're going to want to score at 4 3/8 and 4 1/2. And then when you put them together, you're going to be folding the right to the left, and then the little flap to the right. So, and then it's going to be all attached on the right hand side. And we will be needing magnets, so I have those out on my mat so I don't forget. So I need to go look and see what I have for my pattern paper, and I'll go ahead and attach this pocket to my base page. I'm just going to put some score tape here. I'm going to center this up from side to side, and then wrap it around and put that on. And then I'm going to see what paper I'm going to get for this, and I'll show you what I'm using. I'll be right back. Okay, I have it mounted in the book, so it looks like this, and it flips out. And the magnet is behind here, and the mate is behind the base page. So it's magnet there. So that's how we're going to do this one. So it opens like this, and then like that. Okay, so that's how this page is. So now we're on page 9. So let's go to page 9. Okay, so this is the paper that I'm going to use for page 9, and I'm also going to be using it for page 10. So it's this piece here. I just cut it all down, and it looks like this on the back. So I'm going to set this aside, And I'm going to use this for page 9, and then I'm going to set this aside for page 10. Now this page is going to have a gatefold and a pocket. So we're going to need, for the pocket, your pocket size should have been for your 4 by 8. So you're going to have one of these 4 by 8. And for your gatefold, mine are 8 by 5.5. And that's going to depend on if you use a die or a border punch or whatever on this. So what you're going to need to do is on your base page, you're going to need to take your papers and find your center, and you're going to need to make a little mark, and that will be your first score line. And then you'll go to the right, to the left on this side and make another score mark. And then on your right side, you will get to the edge of your paper, make a score line, and then go to the right and then make another score line. And they're an 1/8 of an inch apart. So you'll have 2 of those. So it's going to look like this. With the, let me show you, give you an idea. It's going to look like this. I can show you with you half of it on like that. Of course, now we need to find our pattern paper, and so let me go hunt down some paper for my gatefold. I already know which one I'm going to use for my pocket. It's the end, it was the bottom of the page that we cut off. We had this piece left over. I'm just going to use this side of it with the butterfly. So I just need to find some pieces for these 2 panels here for the inside and outside. And we'll also need magnets for this too, because each one of these needs to be closed with a magnet. So let me go look for my paper and get out a couple of magnets so I don't forget those, and I'll show you what I have. Okay, I found the pieces that I want to use. For the inside panels of the gatefold, I'm going to be using, it has green and it has this design on the back. So I'm going to use the green on the inside. Now when you cut out your piece for your gatefold, this extra piece on the sides, you don't have to keep it that wide if you don't want to. You can trim it down because it is really wide and we really don't need that much. So that's going to be for my inside panels. For the outside, I have these, and that looks like that on the inside. And they're just going to go on the panels like that. And I got this one for over here, like this one. And for the bottom and for my pocket, I got this piece I just trimmed down from the trimmings from this. And I'll just put that here. And then I do have my magnets set aside. I'm keeping them on my green, so I remember that I cannot attach my green paper before I put my magnets on. So let me go ahead and get what paper I can, because I'm going to be mounting this on my base page before I put my magnets on. So I'll know exactly where I need to go. So let me get my papers on and then we'll go from there. Okay, I have my papers on. Now if you don't want to use magnets, what you can do is after you attach your gatefold, take some ribbon and attach it to the back and bring it around, and that way you can tie it with ribbon if you want to just tie it with the ribbon instead of with the magnets. I'm just going to use magnets on mine. So let me go ahead and attach these to my book, and put my score tape, find my magnets, and then I'll show you what I have. Okay, page 9 is in the book, and this is what it looks like. And this, I use the magnets, and it just opens like this. And then here's a pocket. So that's how this goes. Okay, so let's get started on page 10. Alright, now number 10, this is the one that we set aside from when we cut out our base page from page 9. So we had that set aside. Now, page 10 is just a double pocket, and that's all we're going to need for that. And the double pocket sizes are an 8 by 6 and an 8 by 5. And it all depends on the punch or the die that you use. So all we're going to really need to do for this is to just add a piece of score tape on the bottom, place the larger pocket first, and wrap it around. Now, since this is going to be covered with the second pocket, you really don't need a complete piece of pattern paper to go here. Just enough so that you can see a little bit. You'll see just a little, you're not going to see much of it at all. And then we just need a piece for here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go see if I can find a little piece for this one and see if I can find a piece for that. And I'll show you what mine looks like. Okay, well, I have my double pocket page finished. And all I need to do is remove my tape backing and place it in my album like that. So it looks like this. Now I know this looks kind of plain, this paper that I picked, but what I want to do is, what my plan is, what I'm hoping to do, is on this sheet right here, I want to cut out this little cottage. And I was going to put that there on this piece. Because I wanted to do this little decorative border here with my cut, and I didn't want to mess up on that. Because I'm known for doing that, putting it in the wrong place, and I wanted to make sure I was up high enough and over, so I figured I would just do it in two pieces instead of one. So yeah, so I'm going to cut this little cottage out and stick that on that. So let me get that in the book, and then we're on to page 11. Okay, for the base page for 11 and 12, we're going to use this paper right here, and it's this on the back. So we just need to cut this top piece off, and I'm trying to see how we're going to cut this. I guess it really doesn't matter. We're just going to measure over 8 inches and cut it, and then cut it in half, and then we'll have two 6x8 pieces. So let me go do that. Okay, well, this is what my page looks like. I found this little piece of my scrap right here and just cut that to fit over that die cut out, and I just have my double-sided tape on the back, and I just need to remove the backings and place it in my album, and it'll look like that. So let me do that, and then we'll start on page 12. Okay, page 12. Now, page 12 is going to be a fold-out. So what you're going to do, you're going to be cut. You should have cut two pieces of paper, one at 5x11 and one at 5x10, and scored where I told you to score. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take the two pieces and just join them together. You're just going to join them together with one of the score lines being a 1/2 inch left open on the right side. So you're just going to join them together with the opening flap on the right side. Because this is going to be attached to your base page on the right side of your page like this. And then it's going to have a magnetic closure. So we're going to be doing the closure with this piece that you're supposed to cut. I believe it's 7.5 by 1 3/8. And that's going to go here. And then this smaller piece, I think, is 3 by 3/8. And that's going to go here. And the magnet that closes this is actually going to be under this little piece right here. So the magnet will go here. So this is what this looks like. So what we need to do is we need to just go and get all our little papers. And on this one here, make sure, don't do anything with the back of this yet. We'll do this together. We'll replace our magnet. Okay, so we're going to find out what size you need here. It depends on what size border you want. If you want a 1/4 inch border, you're going to want to cut yours at 4 3/4 square. And if you want a 1/8 border, you're going to need to cut it at 4 7/8 square. So I'm going to go ahead and go through my little papers, and I'm going to start putting them on here, and then I'll show you what mine looks like. Okay, well, after you get all your pages on, this is what mine looks like. I did, however, on the window, I did put that one on upside down, but I think once you have a picture on there, you're not going to notice it. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I did that. Yeah, and I couldn't pull it off. It was on there really, really good. So that's just going to be the way it is. And so yeah, so what you need to do is take your base page and then just put this right in where you want it to be. Flip it over, and let's just tack that down. Is anything coming out? We'll just tack that down. Now on this piece here that we did, our little one, the one that's 1.5 inches before you get to your score lines, that's going to go right in the front like that. So put that where you want yours to be, trying to center it in your little fold here. Just goes right in like that. Should fit right in nicely there. Just flip it over and tack that down. So it should look just like that. Okay, so let's go get our other piece and we'll put that on. Okay, now with the other closure, you have your 2 score lines. The outer one, you want to bring that out. You want to slide that over your base page and bring it over to this part over here. I'm going to have to set mine down because you do want to make sure when you put this on, it is even with this one here. And then you're going to want to pinch it and don't let it move, and then you're going to want to tack it down. So let's do that. Okay, I've got my papers that I want to use to cover these. Yeah, I've already cut them and inked them and everything, so I'm just going to be putting those here. So we're going to place this one first, and then on this one here, we're going to put our magnet. So let's do that. Okay, I've got mine glued down here, and I've got my magnet. So now I'm just going to glue down the little piece that's going to go over my magnet. But it wasn't in your way. Wasn't okay. Okay, so now we need to do is just find the make. Just put a little dab of glue here. And then make sure this is lined up where you want it to be. And then bring this over. And make sure that is lined up where it needs to be. And then just bring it down. And you're going to see a glue spot where your magnet needs to go. Just add a little bit more glue. And then just glue it down. Boom. And now you can take the piece that we cut out to go here, and we can just glue that down. Just make sure you stay away from your score lines. And then we have a little piece that we can just glue right there. Okay, so that's your latch. Perfect. So that's going to be just like that. Now I just need to add score tape around the perimeter, one down the middle, two on either side, then I'm going to mount this in our book and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, our last page is in. So all our pages are in our book. So we have all our pages in our book. Now on to the embellishments. I always do that last. So I just need to clean up my area here and get everything I need for doing some embellishments, and we'll get started on that.